Conrad, we'll go to you first.
Tommy, it's been a while since the 2-0 victory in Edmonton. Are we going to see a couple fresh legs come in that we haven't seen in a while after that much of a rest, if we can call it that, with the way the season's been going?
I tell you what, Conrad, it's an embarrassment of riches now. It's for the first time I've had to leave people at home. It's good. We've got some new blood. It's like having new signings for the game tomorrow.
For sure. Who should we expect to be seeing then that we haven't seen in a while?
We've got Hinga Salamani, Joe DiChiara, and Richard Luca back in the squad.
All right, and I'll just ask one follow-up on the injury front. Is Ollie back in the country yet, or is that still a ways away?
Ollie returns September 6th. He's going through his rehabilitation process back home in Brazil, and will rejoin the squad September 6th.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Tommy. Enjoy the bus ride.
I appreciate that, Conrad.
Thank you, Conrad. Brandon, we'll go to you next.
Thanks, Paige. Hey, Tommy. Second press conference this week from the league on the move, but just want to ask what do you make of Pacific? I know that you've been very complimentary of Pa and James's team this season, but is there a sense of revenge in the team to try and get that win on the road after what happened last time in July?
Yeah, listen, I mean, they're playing well. They're the best team in the league right now. If you look at, I always say the league table never lies, but it's something we've been in that position before, and it's hard to maintain that top spot for a long duration. And we've got 6 opportunities against them, and this is just another great game to pit our wits against them. And I think we arrive in a little different shape than we did at the first game post-bubble. And you've seen the way in which we played them at home. You know, it was a great game. We were disappointed not to come away with a win. So this is a great opportunity to come into their backyard and take something off them.
And just an injury question from me as well. I know you answered to Conrad on most of the guys, but just Ali as well. Is he still set for mid-September?
Yeah, Ali's still there. I mean, for him, his was more of a grade 2 hamstring tear, which just takes a little bit longer. And with anything like that, you just want to be precautionary. So, you know, for us, September's a busy month. So as we start to get the likes of him, Ollie and Tom Field are the next crop coming back in, we've just got to make sure they're in good physical shape because the games come thick and fast. So there'll be plenty of playing time for everyone before we hit the closing stage of the season with a good home run in October.
Appreciate it, Tommy. Thank you, and good luck on Friday.
Benedict, you're next. Go ahead.
Thanks, Paige. Tommy, maybe speak a little about Jose Hernandez. He seems to be having a bit more of an opportunity recently, and I'd say by running with it.
How's he doing? I mean, he's good. I mean, we signed him last year. I've known the lad since he was, 15, I think, when he used to play for the Aces teams and come down to Cavalry. And what was great about his last couple of appearances is he showed glimpses of that at a professional level of what he's about. He's a dynamic, direct attacker that plays with a lot of free will. We've just got to, make sure that we manage him accordingly because this is probably the most amount of football he's had in the last couple of years. It's good to have him back. And I said, look at the attackers we have in our group. We've got a really good depth of attackers. And once everybody's fit, it's going to be a tough decisions to make on who starts when and where. But I can't wait to be in that position.
And you can go move within 1 point of Pacific at the top of the table with a win. Is that something you're particularly worried about, or you're just worried about good performances with so much time left in the season still?
Listen, like I've said prior, we've won every regular season to date and got nothing for it. So right now, all we've talked about is just staying in that top 4. It's a peloton. It takes a lot of energy leading from the front, and we've been there. So it's a great opportunity for us now to take as many points as we can, come to somebody else's house and take points off them. But, being first or fourth really doesn't matter because all we're ever going to be judged on is the last couple of games.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks, Benedict.
Thank you, Benedict. Christian, you can go ahead.
Thanks, Paige. Tommy, great to see you again. I want to ask you about what it's like going up against Pa Madukar and how much you enjoy that challenge and playing a team and going up against a coach 3 times within 3 weeks. What's that like and how much you enjoy that thrill?
Yeah, it's good because as a coach, I think both of us, you've seen us afterwards in the press conference. For us all to get sharper, players and coaches alike, you got to pit yourself against the best. And right now they are the best team in the league. And for us, you know, we found a way to stop their attack. Now what the next move of that is can we come into their backyard and find a way to A, stop their attack, and B, exploit their defense. So it's forever a chess match. And what's been great about this is there's in-game changes, whether it's the pressing strategy or whether it's the attacking strategy. You've got to change on the fly. So it keeps us sharp. We're going to play each other 6 times. It may be a 7th if they beat the Whitecaps in the Canadian Championship. But we really enjoy these type of games because it's what makes this league great when you start to have more than just, you know, provincial rivalry or, you know, it was us and Forge for the longest time. Now Pacific have put themselves in the front runner, and I think they're a team to be talked about. So we really relish the opportunity to play against them.
Let's all hope there's a 7th there. It'd be nice for them to beat you in the Canadian Championship as well. Quick one on David Norman Jr. I know you and I spoke before the season about his adaptability, playing in different positions. He's thriving right now. What do you like about him and the privilege of working with him every day?
Yeah, he's a 24-hour pro, that kid. He's a terrific young man. He's always first onto the pitch and last to leave. Does all the things that are right. You know, he came, we talked very, very much about, you know, the progression we saw in Joel Waterman, that, you know, we inherited him as a midfielder and sold him as a centre-back. And I think with Davey, you know, you look at, there's not many left-sided centre-backs in the game. They're a rarity. And that was always going to be our point of putting him into that position. And, you know, he was prepared to play in a midfield role when it was in a bubble. And now he's really took his opportunity now to play at the back, whether it be in a 3 or a 4. And he's done terrifically well. I mean, we haven't conceded a goal in 3 games. And we've got a terrific back line. If you look at it with, you know, Karifa Yao, with Dan Klomp, with him, Mason Trafford coming back in. And then, you know, we've had the versatility to be able to drop either Mo Farsi or Jose Escalante in at fullback in the absence of Danny Kaiser and Tom Field. So things are starting to come together. But Davey's a terrific footballer. He's not just a very good defender. He's a very intelligent guy. And he hits a terrific pass in the way that he finds those half spaces. So it's good to have him as a quarterback.
Thank you, Christian. Moses, you can go ahead.
Thanks, Paige. Good afternoon, Tommy.
What's going on, Mo?
I'm doing all right, my friend. Did want to talk about, kind of alluding to, you heard about Jose Hernandez, David Norman Jr. You're almost reaching the midway point of the season. And I know you've seen these kids at some point or to a varying degree, at least on my end. But is there one that has gone underrated so far that you feel has been a good workhorse for you over the past 13 or 12 matches?
Do you know what we talked about at the start of this season, that it was an unusual one? This is our 3rd season in the league, and every season has been a different one. You look at, you know, from the spring and fall of 2019 to the Island Games here, to the start of the bubble, to a regular season. It's all been different. So we talked about every player that was on the squad was required to be a starter, not a squad player. And I think you look at that and you look at the young players that came in, and, you know, whether it was Danny Kaiser as a U Sports pick and Victor Lattori, you look at Elliot Simmons that's played. You look at a bunch of these guys. You know, Jose Escalante's played in about 4 different positions. You know, on the weekend, Victor Lattori played at centre mid, number 10, and inverted winger. And these are the type of players that help make your squad stronger, their versatility to play. And we talked about Davey Norman in that role as well. You know, and Karifa Yao went from a centre back to almost an auxiliary left back. This is the type of versatility that we need to complete this season, because games come thick and fast. And you know, and you also look at Tyson Farrago, that's played in 3 games. He's kept 2 shutouts and obviously and only conceded 1 in 3 games. That just shows the depth of the squad, because we have been hurt. And, you know, the last time when we played Pacific, we were missing 10 potential starters from that lineup, but we didn't blink and we carried on and we competed very, very well. And like I said, we were disappointed not to win that game.
So I guess it's safe to say in this case, in terms of maybe the underrated player for you, Tommy, it's the whole is greater than the sum of its parts for the Cavalry.
Yeah, Mo, we've been very much a team, and we always look at the strengths and weaknesses of our opposition and how we can nullify their strengths and expose their weaknesses. So it's I tell you, it's been a great opportunity to be able to get the guys together. They're very, very tight. And I said, it's fortunate now that I'm in a position where having to leave players behind as we go on road trips. And that shows the squad's getting stronger, and we need to, because September's going to be a busy month. We're on the road a lot, and we've also added in the next round of the Canadian Championship. So players getting healthy at the right time is good for us.
Thanks, Tommy.
Conrad, you're ready. Go ahead.
So, Tommy, we saw 10 minutes of Max in the match against Edmonton. With the amount of soft tissue injuries that we've had, can you talk a little bit more about how the developmental contracts and these former Foothills lads have been able to help your squad get through a tough part of the schedule?
It's brilliant. And this is what credit where it's due to the leaders at the CAMPL, because they've created this neat initiative, whether it be the youth sports contract, which is unlike anything else in the world. You don't get that in the MLS with the NCAA, and you look now at the development contract where the U18s, you can sign them for up to 14 days, and then you can return them back to their clubs, and then you can have a second 14-day contract. And it's been terrific. Max and Dale Rees-Dew have been smashing in terms of additions to the squad. And it also whets their appetite of what, if this is where they want to be. This is what it takes. Is minutes are going to be hard to come by, but when they do come, make sure you make them count. And what was great about Max is he got a minute in the game against Pacific, and then he got 10 minutes in the Can Champ against Edmonton. And it was funny because even Nick Ledgerwood had joked to him. He had a welcome to the league tackle from probably the biggest guy in the league, from Amir Didic, and it didn't shake him. So I think that's been terrific. We now have the opportunity, if we get into this situation again, to bring him back up this season, because we get a second development slip. And like I said, this is a terrific way for Canadian players to now whet their appetite for the professional game.